So one of the finest art museums in the country, the Toledo Museum of Art.
I just love it here. Julie McMaster and Rhonda Sewell are both with us this morning. First of all, Julie, we want to talk about the history here of the museum. I mean, it's been here for a bit, and it's a huge staple in the community.
Yes, our wonderful museum was founded in 1901. April 18th, 1901 is our birthday. And the building that we're standing in front of was actually opened in January of 1912. But one of the things that people don't actually realize about our museum is that we are the first museum in the country, probably in the world, that allowed children to come to the museum unaccompanied by adults so that they could come to the classes that we had. And this was very, very early on. Back in 1903, 1904, no one else was doing that. And education was always such a huge part of our history, and it still is. The museum was built and we're standing in front of was opened in 1912. An expansion opened in 1926, and then the wings, including the peristyle, was opened in 1933.
Wow. So. Yeah. So, and there's such a beautiful art, obviously, inside the museum and throughout, and also the connection to the community is huge as well. I know some of the families, the Libby family in particular,
right,
and some other families here had a really big part in this museum.
Right. Edward Drummond Libby was the first board president, the Board of Trustees president, and he kind of led the museum. He was the board president from 1901 until his death in 1925. And it was his wife's father's, Florence Scott Libby's father's estate that the museum is sitting on. There was a wonderful, there was this huge push to raise money in 1907, 1908. And in 1908, George Stevens, who was the director at the time, he raised $50,000 by subscription within a month. And Edward Drummond Libby was so impressed by the outpouring of affection that the whole community, small children with the nickels and dimes and pennies, in a downtown window, just everything. It was this great enthusiasm for this museum. And then not only did he give the $50,000 that he had promised, he gave the land and an additional $50,000 in order to get this museum going. And when it was opened in January of 1912, it was without debt, and they just opened the doors on a very cold, rainy January evening, and people came in droves. It was a very small museum, thus they had already, even in 1912, had thought, oh, we need to make it bigger, but they didn't have the money at the time. And Edward Drummond Libby gave, in 1924, $850,000 for the full expansion in 1926.
So a lot of nice history and a lot to do. Let's bring Rhonda into this conversation. So Rhonda, let's talk about some of the exhibits, the experiences, of the museum. What's in store?
Oh, so much is in store, and we're so glad to have you here at the museum today. We are a world-class museum, top 8 in the country. Many people don't know that for our collection, and we have some amazing exhibits coming up. The one that I'm really excited about is on view now. It's called Machine Auguries, and this is an immersive experience. It's a light and sound installation, and we just completed the biggest birding week, right, in our region. Well, this is light and sound of the dawn chorus of birds from the Toledo region. Wow. And when we say machine, we mean it's a real bird versus a sort of a tech bird. Okay. And then you hear the sounds, and there's a crescendo that happens, and it sounds just like the dawn chorus that we hear in the morning when we wake up. Beautiful. And really, the artist, Alexandra Daisy Ginsburg, worked with an internal curator, Jessica Hong, to create this immersive experience. And really, they're trying to look at the interconnectedness between the natural world and the human world. And birds have unfortunately declined in population, and they have to get up earlier and sing louder to defend their territory and to mate. And we just want our visitors to really protect what's around them in the natural world. And birds, we couldn't exist without birds, right? This is a fun experience, and this is on view until November 26th.
Okay.
The next big exhibit opens June 3rd through September 3rd. We will have people from all over coming to this one. It is Jacob Lawrence, the legendary African-American Harlem Renaissance painter. This is a never-before-seen exhibition of when he was in Nigeria for 8 months. And so when he was in Nigeria, he created things that were so unlike Jacob Lawrence, the traditional Jacob Lawrence that we're used to. And so that opens, and that's called Black Orpheus, Jacob Lawrence, and the Mbari Club. And only 3 museums in the country have this, and we are the last stopover. It was in New Orleans prior to this, and then in Norfolk, Virginia at the Chrysler. So we are really excited about it. And he was married to a woman named Gwendolyn Knight, and she was a prolific artist. We're just kind of discovering Gwendolyn, and one of her pieces are in this installation, which has 110 pieces of works on paper, paintings, sculptures, and also other artists that he respected during that time period. We are very, very excited about that. And don't forget our block party. We have a date. September 9th is our block party, and then Juneteenth, which is a celebration of emancipation of African Americans in Texas. We will have something going on outside for that. So we're just really excited.
Yes, there's a lot to come.
Yes.
And of course, for the parents looking for, summer activities for the kids,
yes,
this is definitely going to be
this
a
is
spot.
the place.
But thank you both for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Interesting.
It
and
is
a
so
huge part of
much
the community.
going on as well.
Yeah.
A lot to learn.